break. Okay.
No, it's what you were talking about.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So, back to back, let's get up and do these. Let me see everybody. Who's going first?
Okay, screw it, I'll go.
Okay. Connor.
Whenever.
Yes, introduce yourself, the piece, transition into it.
Alright. Hi, my name is Connor Foster. I'll be reading for Egan on reading lists. The stars. I was looking up anything I could find on the stars. There's this article about dark matter that scared the shit out of me. I was putting my family through hell about it. Just like my daughter's inquiries in the mystery of language and meaning, which I take as bleak and troublesome coming like that from a young person. But it somehow challenged me personally and confronted me on a personal level. Like my fatherhood, my being a parent was all of a sudden a pointless and sorry thing. I like talk at the dinner table. It's time well spent if you put aside other concerns. But I was depressing everyone, and I thought maybe there was a way, with more information, to look at things. To take this dark matter, my darkest questions, and turn it into a metaphor of well-being, instead of what it clearly represented to me now as a crushing void with the power to cancel the present, past, and future. Life, but the sad and confusing thing about it, still, is what we know. It's what we want our children to know. Well, apparently in my investigations of the universe, there were a couple of references to a certain gay astronomer. He kept turning up in the books I happened to look through, and they wanted to know, they, being the messengers of secrecy and the harbingers of silence, what it had to do with him. What interest did I have in a gay astronomer who was fired from his post in the 50s? And what business did I have with footnotes referred to the incident in the park? Did I know him?
Thank you, Connor. All right. We're going to work this one tonight?
Yes.
Excellent. Very good. Next.
Hi, my name is Ashley Armstrong. I'll be reading Beth from Death Comes for a Wedding. I had a dream last night. I'm running through a field of tall stalks of greens, but as I brush past them, they rot and turn to a curdled gray. But it's not me who's the cause of it, it's the man behind me. I can't see him because he's invisible, but because of the rotting greens, I know he's there. And I realize that the greens are all the village has to eat, and the more I try to run, the more I'll be ruined. But I can't imagine stopping, because I know that as soon as I stop, he'll grab me. And when he touches me, I'll see his face, and it is putrid. It's putrefying. I look at it, and I'll be like the greens. My flesh and color will shrivel away, and I'll be dead. I'll look like the dead. I'll be the bride of death. Then I woke up and thought, thank goodness, that was only a dream. And then I remembered, I have no choice. I have to leave.
Good. We coached you already, right?
Yeah.
Not yet. Good. Okay, good. Tonight?
Okay.
Excellent. Lovely. Next. Okay.
Okay, late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's right. This is the full run through everything. We're going to start with you tonight because we have to finish you.
Yes.
Because we didn't get to finish you last week. Okay.
Hi, my name is Sona Mather, and I'll be reading Annette from God of Carnage. Men are so wedded to their gadgets. It belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off. There was a man once I found really attractive. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Can I start over?
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
Give me more of a sense of how you're feeling when you throw that phone.
Okay.
Sets it up at the beginning.
All right. Hi, my name is Sona Mather, and I'll be reading Annette from God of Carnage. Men are so wedded to their gadgets. It belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off. There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag. A man's shoulder bag, but that was it. There's nothing worse than a shoulder bag. Although, there's also nothing worse than a mobile phone. A man ought to give the impression that he's alone, if you ask me. I mean, that he's capable of being alone. I also have a John Wayne-ish idea of virility. And what was it he had? Colt 45, a device to create a vacuum. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Alan, you want to pick that up?
Good, thank you. Next. Jordan? We worked Jordan last week.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it disturbing you?
It is.
Hi, my name is Jordan Crum, and I'll be reading for Una from Blackbird.
I wanted you to be my boyfriend. I wanted to sit beside you in your car and be driven into town. And for people to see me. See us. You didn't stop that. All you had to do was tell my parents. Stupid girl who had a stupid crush. But you didn't. You let it start. I was too young to in love. But that's what you wanted. I wanted anything you wanted. Yes, I said yes, and I kept saying yes. Eager to please. Desperate to please.
That's good, good, good. End it more. Let the desperate
that's
police,
where,
if
yeah, I
it
was
comes
like,
down,
that's-
but let that moment sit a little longer is all it is. All it takes, you just gotta let the moment sit a little bit longer.
Okay.
Right, next. Okay, thank you. Hey, Dejarius. How are you? Oh, darling, Dejarius. Okay. Everybody settle in, please. Okay. There were chairs. Okay. Okay.
Hi,
here we go.
my name is Ashley Cockrell, and I'll be doing a monologue from Brighton Beach Memoirs by Neil Simon. I don't remember Dad much anymore. I used to remember him real good, and now he disappears a little bit every day. Oh God, he was so handsome. He always dressed so dapper, and his shoes always shined. I always said he should have been a movie star, like Gary Cooper, only very short. Mostly, I remember his pockets. Well, when I was like 6 or 7, he used to always bring me home a little surprise, like a Hershey's or a top. I'm so sorry, I just drew a
That's okay. Do you have a copy?
Yes. I know this. I just
I know you do.
blank.
I don't believe you don't. I've already seen it. I know you know it. We just get brain farts
So you
sometimes.
remember his pockets? Is that where you left off?
Yeah, when he was 6 or
When I was-
7.
he always brought me home a little surprise, like a Hershey or a top. He'd tell me to go get it in his coat
That's
pocket.
right.
Okay. Take it back to,
When I was like 6 or 7.
there we go.
When I was like 6 or 7, he used to always bring me home a little surprise, like a Hershey's or a top. He'd tell me to go get out of his coat pocket, so I run to the closet, put my hand in it, and it felt as big as a tent. I just wanted to crawl in there and go to sleep. And it was full of these terrific little things, like juicy fruit gum and spearmint lifesavers and bits of cellophane and crumpled pieces of tobacco, nickels and pennies and paper clips, and his gray suede gloves that he wore in the wintertime. Then one day I found his coat in Mom's closet. And I put my hand in the pocket and everything was gone. It was emptied and dry cleaned and it felt cold. That's when I knew he was really dead. Thank you.
Next. Yeah, you're in the road that's already gone, so you gotta do it.
And then there was me. Hi, my name is Darius, and I'm reading. Do I have to say the character and everything, or just okay? Jeff from What Tuesdays Are Like. No, don't get me wrong. I love my mother. She's a decent human being, like brimming with humanity, but my AIDS made her hyperactive. It was like she was on speed or something. She became obsessed with becoming the world's greatest mother. Like she was determined to prove that Jesus got gypped with that lightweight mom of his. No, by the time I got back home to New York, she was already an expert on AIDS. You know, NYU Medical Center could have used her. She was cooking all the time, you know, special foods for the immune system. No, my mother cannot cook. Have you ever tried to digest burnt bean? Shiitake mushrooms? I said it all backwards. I'm sorry. Can I start from the top?
You
I'll
may.
check myself. Thank you. Too many emotions. Little nephew is like 6, so I got. Okay. Oh no, don't get me wrong. I love my mother. She's a decent human being, you know, brimming with humanity. But my AIDS made her hyperactive. It's like she was on speed. She became obsessed with becoming the world's greatest mother. Like she wanted to prove that Jesus got gypped with that lightweight mother of his. By the time I got back to New York, she was an expert on AIDS. She cooked all the time, special foods for the immune system. No, my mother can't cook. She never could. I mean, have you ever tried to digest burnt bean curdle? Yeah. She developed like a routine. She became like this positive thinking Miami Beach Cassandra, always talking about how fabulously I was doing. She introduced me to everyone. Hi, this is my wonderful son. He has AIDS, you know. I was starting to forget my own name. I knew I had enough when I dreamt my mother was pureed to death in a juicer. But by the next day, she was back at her routine in Kmart. What's your name, honey? Faye Ann? Well, Faye Ann, this is my wonderful, brave son. Do you notice the light in his eyes? He's been given a special burden and he's beaten it. He has AIDS. That's when I lost it. I said, Mom, you have to stop telling people up and down the beach that this story. You have to finally accept you're the one living with AIDS. She just started crying. It was the first time she'd shown real emotion since I'd arrived.
Back row, come on.
I think so, you tell me, probably.
Deal.
Nice try, Brett.
Next week we start over here.
Okay. I'm Diego Mena. I'll be reading Caldwell from The Four Senses of Love. You know what bugs me? Blind people. They piss me off. Can I start again?
Sure.
I heard you talking about.
You know what bugs me?
Okay, take a moment. Take a moment.
You know what bugs me? Blind people. They piss me off. Sometimes I just tap them on the shoulder and they're all like, who's there? Who did that? I don't answer. Let them figure it out. Blind people. If I go to a movie or a play, you know, with one of the blind guys from the support group I belong to, and I'm describing what's going on for them, I make stuff up. Sometimes I say, oh my God, he just stabbed her. And they're all like, what, wait, what? I thought she died in the first act. And then I say, she's a ghost. They have her in green makeup. Oh wait, you don't know from green. Same color as an orange. What? No. They're green. Yeah, it's a confusing name. Makes sense to us. You just don't get colors. We can see them with our eyes closed. It's true. We don't make out shapes too good, but colors? Yeah, we love colors. They feel good. They feel like I don't feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on.
Shona. I'll be reading Pootie from Reckless. When I lost the use of my legs, a friend drove me up here to Springfield to take a look at this place where they worked with the handicapped. I watched a physical therapist working with the patients, and there was one. I remember he was working with a quadriplegic, and I thought he was the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. A light shone through his skin, and I thought if I couldn't be with him, I'd die. But I knew I'd just be another crippled dame as far as he was concerned, so my friend helped get me registered as deaf and disabled. I used to teach sign language to the hearing impaired. I thought if I was somehow needier than the rest, I would get special attention. But I realized soon enough, everyone gets special attention where Lloyd is concerned. But by then it was too late. He was in love with me, my honesty. He learned to sign. And he told me how he'd run away from a bad marriage and he changed his name so he wouldn't have to pay child support. He got me a job at the Hands Across the Sea. And I couldn't bring myself to tell him that I had another name and another life. And I too would run away because I owed the government so much money and I wasn't able to pay after the accident. I believe in honesty. I believe in total honesty. I need him, and he needs me to be the person he thinks I am. I am that person. I really am that person.
Good. Nice. I like that. I like that a lot more than last week. Yeah, it's good work. You've got these arcs in the piece where there's highs and lows, and I'm not feeling the highs still enough yet. Okay. Celebrate those moments that you remember being positive, so that when you go to the ones where you feel insecure, they stand out more. So you go to the high, you'll feel the lows more. You don't have to sell the lows. Okay. Because the highs are easier.
Yes, sir.
My name is Karen Bryson. I'm doing In a Forest Dark and Deep. The character is Betty. I finally saw what it was like to become invisible. You know, to be seen through. I felt it coming. Hey, campus is not for the weak at heart, trust me. Hot new girls coming in every term, year in and out. But hey, I could still turn a head or two when I tried. Yeah, put some makeup on, my heels. Yeah, I still had a little something. But hey, college guys are easy, I suppose. They're just trying to get laid and they don't care by who. Still, it doesn't hurt at 8 a.m. as you're walking across the lawn and a bunch of guys whistle at you. Stupid. But it makes you feel alive or whatnot. And just for a second. Okay. Well, this young, gorgeous guy I find in my office one day, he needs help with his college application, and he makes me smile and laugh, and he's just, he likes my hair. And you want to believe it even though you know it's not the truth, but you gotta believe the illusion, because that's all you ever were. This pretty face and a girl who would say, yes. It's not easy to give all that up, to watch it just pass you by. So later, you look for it anywhere. You just had to hear it one time from the kid at the drugstore or some old man getting his coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, that's just how pathetic you get. Shit.
Good, nice. If you want a shorter version, you can stop at just even if just for a second, and you can get a 1 minute piece out of that very, very cleanly. This is a little long.
That was more than that?
Oh, yes.
You told me to stop at that shit.
Because it was longer than that?
Oh.
Sit down.
That's for you. I realized how
Francis.
I
David?
didn't put it there.
I can say it quicker.
Well, I don't think you want to. I don't think you want to rush that. I don't think you want to rush it. It's already fast enough. I think you should have that version, and then you should have a version that's about half that length where you stop at, even if just for a second, because it's an effective end. It's a different monologue. It's a different story. Because the first, if you do it where you stop at that moment, it's a story just about a woman who's found this need to be recognized. When you take it even farther, it's about a very specific woman. So the first half is more universal. The second half is more specific. So you can use this monologue two different ways. Okay? Just something to think about. Frances.
Hi, my name is Frances Owens, and my monologue will be coming from a play titled Enemies. A man's enemies are those of his own household. Yes, especially if they love you, on account of your love for me, have tyrannized over me, bothered me, badgered me, nagged me for 15 years. You've taken my time and strength and prevented me from accomplishing great works for the good of humanity. You crush my soul, which longs for the serenity and peace from your perpetual complaining. Yes, of course. But you see, my dear, I am more philosophical than you, and I recognize all this as necessity. Men and women are natural enemies, like cat and dog, only more so. They're forced to live together for a time, or this wonderful race couldn't go on. In addition, in order to have the best children, men and women of totally opposite temperaments must live together. The shock and flame of two hostile temperaments meeting is what produces fine children. Well, we have fulfilled our fate and produced our children, and they're good ones. But really, to expect also to live in peace together, we as different as fire and water or sea and land, that's too much.
Good, nice, good. Does he think they're good ones? The children?
Damn, Keith, I didn't think about that.
Think about that, because if you have to say, and they're good ones, if you're reprimanding him, if you're telling him, fuck you and what you think, you got it wrong, then there's an interesting little twist on that.
Okay.
So think about that.
Okay.
Okay. David?
My name is David, and I will be doing a monologue from What Our Tuesdays Like. You know, I kept repeating to myself over 5,000 times a day, this is not happening to me. This is just not happening to me. In 1 month, my whole life gone. Everything disappeared. Mark's death was just not what I was expecting. And what came afterwards, I just really was not prepared for. He was home. He slipped. That's the expression they were using. He slipped into a coma, as if by means of a slate of ice. He slipped. He was home, and he just slipped. I was afraid to be alone. I was afraid that I was going to do something wrong, that I was going to hurt him in some way. Thankfully, I had friends stay around me around the clock. But I could tell that some of them were just praying for him to die. Some of them have done this before. I just know what to do. Yes, they were sad. I know that. It just wasn't that special to them. Not anymore. It's time, they said. And I know they've said that in some other room, in somebody else's home. Still. I just couldn't let him go. I didn't want him to die. I just couldn't picture a world where Mark wasn't breathing. No! This is not happening to me.
Good. Nice recovery.
Yes.
Nice recovery. Way to stay in it. What David just did was he had an issue, and he just pushed through. So after tonight, there is none of this stopping. All right? Sorry? Mm-hmm.
Your guest.
Grab a chair. Gabe, grab a chair. Everybody, this is Gabe. He's in visiting tonight.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Serene, and I'll be reading Arlene from the play Next Fall. I used to be a bit of a loose cannon. We both were, Butch and me. A couple of crazies. But at a certain point, Butch had enough, and he pulled himself together. I fell deeper into it all. I'd disappear for days at a time, weeks even. And then 6 months in jail for selling pot. Well, no, not even selling, really. Oh, it's a long, stupid story involving my ex-best friend, a one-armed beautician from Shreveport. No, I kid you not. I was a fool. I was mad at the world, and no one could convince me otherwise. Not even this sweet little kid. When I got out, I was so determined to make it up to him. I scraped together enough cash and I bought him a bicycle. It had the sparkly tassels, wicker basket, and everything. And he wouldn't even look at the damn thing. He just sat in his sandbox, ignoring me. So I started stomping my foot and I'm screaming at the little shit. I said, "Now you listen to me, young man." Like all of a sudden I was going to become a mother, right? Now Luke, he wasn't having it. He shouted back at me. He said, "No, you listen to me, lady." And then we just glared at each other for a moment like a couple of mules. And I fell out laughing and I thought, he's right. That's what I've become. This evil cartoon character with flames bursting out of my metallic bustier. Dark, mysterious powers no one would ever understand.
Really coming along nicely.
Oh, thank you.
It's really coming along nicely. It's a
Thanks.
very nice monologue. Good
Thank you.
monologue for you. The eye contact is all over the place. And you've got to decide what points you want to make. I have to tell you this because we've already worked yours. But you've got to decide what points you want to make to someone and then make them. You know, so focus on why you're telling the person you're telling and who they are and where they are, so that when you're talking about it was difficult. I mean, but such and such happened, you know, and people were saying this stuff, and I knew. So you're always coming back. I knew that they had said it in other places. So much of it is just it's all inside you. It's not coming out this way.
Right.
Okay. All right. My turn. So I'm not sure I like this piece now. I've been working on it for the last week or so. So you'll forgive me. Let's do it. Hi, I'm Keith Flippin. I'm reading for the role of Agamemnon from David Rabe's The Orphans. Agamemnon. Nim. Nin. Shit. Num. I have a name that when I get drunk I can't say it. I didn't ask to have such a name. Would it be me? Did anyone ever hear Agamemnon, sober or drunk, ask to be him? But I am. I'm going to let my daughter die. I get drunk. I fall down. Still she's gonna die. I see the surf destroy itself against the shore, and I think, be like that. Be like that. Oh my God, I will make myself hard and let the world destroy itself against me. What is a daughter? If I took off running with my wine right now, how far could I get? I so love my power. When I feel it in the darkness behind me to pull me back. People do as I say. Come here, I say. And they do. Go. Stand. Sit. It's amazing. So amazing. When I was a boy, my brother and I would play games of my uncle and my father. My uncle, Menelaus, I'm sorry about that, Thyestes, would seduce his sister-in-law, our mother, and then Atreus, our father, would make a meal of our cousins, the sons of Thyestes, and feed them to him, and then Thyestes would eat them, and he would vomit them up. We would laugh. I wanted to be Atreus. But Menelaus managed always to be our father. And I was always foolish Thyestes. Forever foolish and vomiting. But now, I am Agamemnon. So thank you. But I don't think it works. I don't think it works because it's not focused enough. It doesn't have a. The play is weird because he's talking to. Thank you, Tony, for running camera.
Yeah.
These spirits. There are these oracles that have told him he's got to let his daughter die in order to win this war, and so they come and go, and there's nobody in the room with him but these sort of imagined spirits, and they become sort of literal people if you have to talk to them. So it's this really odd fucking piece. And I also don't think it flows. I don't think it's. I've cut like a third of it out to make it this length, and I think I cut out this whole thing about I get drunk, I fall down, what is it? I get drunk, I fall down, I pour wine in my ear, I pour it in my hair, and still she's going to die. I piss on rocks, and still she's going to die. And it's just this whole like thing, and it just feels long. So your opinions, what do you think? Where do you see it?
Really like the opening. The opening was really
Playing with the name?
Yes.
Do you get, after having said Agamemnon, that that's what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Where does it fall apart? Where does it go astray?
How do you feel about the length?
I think it's too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't speed it up though because there's.
No, you can. You can. I think once it hits the part about Atreus and Thyestes, that can clip along a little bit more. But that whole opening part, there's this weird sort of back and forth that he's a king. His word, he could stop them from killing her if he wanted to, and he doesn't because being a king is more important than being a father. And that's the decision he's made. So all of these beats in there, Each one deserves a little bit of weight, and they're all getting too much right now. So that's sort of where I feel it is right now. There's just too much, and that's a danger when you've got these things going on. That the things we talk about, know what happens in the ellipse, know what you mean to say, and then know how it changes. And when all of those things gets too much value, this is what it turns into, and this isn't right yet. So it's a matter of finding a way to string some of those together a little bit more, so there's not so much fucking time taken in there, because this was a little bit of this. It was. That's where I am right now.
It did feel like two separate pieces, because I was like the first
It
half.
did!
I was like, oh, the first half. Oh, but then by the second, I was like, oh, this is.
When I was a kid, my son, my brother and I, yeah, and it's just like this whole thing. And so it's, and what it is Menelaus is the person who's sort of leading this other army. He's the king of the Spartans, and so he's leading the other army. So when I talk about, I so love my power, people do what I say. That would be great if I ran away, but my power will bring me back. And then it just takes me back to this place of when we were kids, and I had no power over him. And so that's the only transition I could find in there. So it does feel like that. It doesn't work. I just don't think the monologue works as a piece.
As for something to audition with, or just as a piece? As a piece, it's fun to watch. Are you like trying to? I don't think
it's a good back pocket audition piece. I don't. I think it. I don't think it's easily followed.
I was gonna say, it
I
kind
don't
of
think it's
requires a
accessible.
little bit of context to sort of
It
understand
does.
who they are.
The brother story is easier because it is followable, because you lay out all the points.
To
But
understand
without
the
the
sacrifice
backstory.
of a daughter for a nation, yeah, like.
Here's the backstory on this monologue. Please enjoy that while I prepare. I agree completely. I just don't think it's accessible. And I think there's just a little too much to it. So
It's too much going on.
I worked it. I just wanted to prepare it to you because I didn't have that for you last week. So I wanted to share it, but I
The
just
character of it, you doing that was great, Kate.
It's good physical
Definitely.
demonstration.
Yeah.
well, the whole idea of he's up, he's down. That whole idea of the energy coming up, and then the sort of the collapse of the stuff that's supporting him, and when you see his
It's a roller
weakness.
coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This
did
is-
enjoy the emotions.
Yeah.
All of
It's,
them.
but it's something to. I hope that when you watch it, maybe there will be something in there you can apply to the work you're doing in that respect, in that regard. But I don't think it functions as a piece very well. So I don't want to share it. All right. So who's getting the? Let's get Sonam up. Let's finish up your work from last week. Do-do-do. There you go. Good. Do you need? So you won't have a phone. So the reason we needed that energy at the top, that.
Yeah.
Is because we need you to come down from that when you say the first line.
Okay. Men are so wedded to their gadgets.
Yes. No, that's better, isn't it? Isn't that the first line? That's better?
Oh, I cut that out because of we cut the end part out where everyone is much calmer, don't you think? Because it was.
Ah,
not
okay.
quite-
Good. I like that. So here's what I want you to imagine. You've just snatched it out of his hand, and you've thrown it over there as if to say what?
Fuck you with this phone.
Yes. Why?
Because you keep picking it up when we're in the middle of a conversation.
Great. So then when you turn back to them, that's the subtext still.
Okay.
Yes? Try it
Oh, like actually, okay.
from the top.
All right.
You don't do the intro.
Men are so.
So you've just snatched it from him there.
Oh, okay,
You
I
put
see.
her here. Is that what it is?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So just imagine that it's just sort of ringing on the table in front of you and he's about to go for it.
Okay.
Okay? Try it again.
Men are so wedded to their gadgets.
Good. Where is he?
Um,
Put him here.
Okay,
Just
I'll put it-
split the camera.
Okay.
Put him here, and after you throw it, give him the I dare you to fucking try and pick it up look.
Or after picking.
After you throw it,
after.
give him that look,
Okay.
and then come back to her and have the conversation. Men are so wedded to their gadgets.
Okay.
Can we try that? So you put him way over there. Put him here.
Over.
Too much to say.
Okay.
So when you look at him, give him a do it. I dare you. Look. Let me see what that look is. Put it here. Throw the phone.
Men are so wedded to their gadgets.
This is better contrast there. Good. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Men are so wedded to their gadgets. It belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me.
For what?
For fun times. Okay. Need to make it more.
Give yourself a little.
Okay. So some hand movements is okay.
As long as it is specific, as long as it contributes to the storytelling of the piece.
Okay.
Yes.
Men are so wedded to their gadgets. It belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off.
Find your belly button. Use this finger. Can I see what that looks like? It makes you uncomfortable, I know.
A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me.
That was good, but you shortchanged it. You gotta let that stick around just a little bit longer until the point is made, if you ask me. And then move on.
Right. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off. There was a man once I found really attractive. And then I saw him with a shoulder bag, a square shoulder bag, but that was it. There is nothing worse than a shoulder bag.
Is it a square shoulder bag? In the first one, you call it something else.
Oh, sorry, it's a square shoulder bag.
It's a square shoulder bag. Good. Good. So, it's a square shoulder bag. Should I get how offensive that is? How completely wrong that is?
Oh, okay, I should.
Should I? You answer the question. It's your choice.
Oh, okay. Maybe not right away.
So tell me, a man with a shoulder bag.
There was a man once I found really attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag.
So a shoulder bag, a square shoulder bag?
Sorry,
That's right.
A square shoulder bag.
No, is the text, I saw him with a shoulder bag, a square shoulder bag, or is it?
I saw him with a square shoulder bag, a man's shoulder bag. But
that's it. Okay, good. Try it again.
Okay. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag, a man's shoulder bag.
Ah, there's the beat. It's in there. A square shoulder bag.
Okay.
All right. So?
A man's shoulder bag.
That's it.
All right.
That'll clean that up.
Okay.
To back it up.
All right. Then I saw him with a shoulder bag, a man's shoulder bag, but that was it. There is nothing worse than a shoulder bag. Although, there's also nothing worse than a mobile phone. A man needs to
Deliver that to him.
Although there's also nothing worse than a mobile phone. A man ought to give the impression that he's alone, if you ask me. I mean that he's capable of being alone. I also have a John Wayne-ish idea of virility. And what was it he had? A Colt 45.
Okay. So yeah, you love the Colt 45, don't you? So what was it he had? What are you imagining when you see that in your head? What was it he had? What are the visions in your head? Tight jeaned thigh with a hip holster with that string tied around there so it just bulges just a little bit. And the chaps with just that opening right there. Virility, grabbing the gun, this whole thing. Boom. So when you think of that, what is it called? What is in your head is very important. That specificity, so that we will get, because you never say what you mean by this John Wayne virility, but the moment you say what was that he had, we'll see the pleasure on your face at that memory, and you'll remember in front of us. So we'll get that memory if you have it then.
Okay.
All right.
I also have a John Wayne-ish idea of virility. And what was it he had? A Colt 45. A device to create a vacuum.
Good. So what was it he had? Is this sort of like hum?
Oh, yeah.
And this is a little bit of this.
Okay.
I mean, what did you imagine he would do with that gun? This virile cowboy Green Beret figure of John Wayne. Put your foot in the stirrups, Pilgrim. I don't know.
That's not when you went for Green Beret.
But I mean, what is this fantasy? I think it's very important to be very specific with that fantasy, because then that will come across more clearly.
Okay.
Share it with me. Don't go up here.
Okay.
Well, then he had, share it with me.
Okay.
Try it.
I also have a John Wayne-ish idea of virility. And what was it he had? Colt 45, a device to create a vacuum. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Good. Is he a man that can't be alone and threatens to have no texture?
Yes.
You got to set it up that way.
Okay.
Tell me that last line about a man who can't be alone. Or,
Oh, okay. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture.
all here,
Okay.
and then over to him. So what do you say?
Okay. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture.
Can't roll your
Oh,
eyes there.
sorry. Okay.
That's all right. Make it a rule of the universe.
Okay. A man who can't give the impression that okay, sorry.
It's okay, you're doing great.
A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Good. And what are you saying when you ask him that?
If you pick that up, you have, no texture.
What the fuck does that? What the fuck does it mean not to have texture? What does it mean vis-a-vis your relationship with him?
That you're on thin ice with me right now, and if you pick that up, we're gonna have.
What does that mean specifically?
I'm leaving you. You're a complete ass because you don't pay attention to us and our relationship. You're always on that phone 24/7.
So, if you pick it up, what is the result?
We're done.
I like that. Make that the subtext. Try it again.
Okay. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Good. Stay here a little bit longer. Let it land. What's the
Okay.
line?
A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Good. Now what you're doing is this. A man who can't be alone has no texture. So what do you say, Michael? You want to pick it up? It's kind of abrupt.
Okay.
A man who can't be alone has no texture. So what do you say, Michael? So if you come over to him and say, you've heard what I've just said now, you going to do it?
Okay.
As opposed to, so what do you say, Michael? It just
Okay.
it feels a little,
Okay.
there's less gravity to the quick motion and the,
Okay.
try it again.
A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Almost there. Almost there. And the thing is, there are two things that are happening. You're blinking and that weakens it.
Okay.
So, Michael, you're going to pick that up. It kind of weakens it a little bit.
Okay.
Make it pointed.
Okay.
I dare you.
Okay.
One more time.
A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up? A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up? Sorry.
So, no.
Yeah.
No, but you work that last moment. See if you can find that I dare you.
Okay.
I dare you
Okay.
to show what a textureless, whatever you are. Let's do it from the top.
All right. Men are so wedded to their gadgets. It belittles them. It takes away all their authority. A man needs to keep his hands free, if you ask me. Even an attaché case is enough to put me off. There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a shoulder bag. A man's shoulder bag. But that was it. There is nothing worse than a shoulder bag.
What do you mean by, but that was it? That's confusing me.
I wasn't quite sure what she was trying to say.
It's
but
clear there. That's
Okay,
the
yeah.
case. What are the possible meanings of but that was it? Is it but that was it? That's the text?
Yeah.
A man's shoulder bag, but that was it. Is there an accessory that makes that acceptable?
That's what I was
It's
thinking.
like, is a
you were
fedora make a man's shoulder bag work better?
saying. Yeah. I guess.
I would suggest cutting the line.
Okay.
the context, if it's too tough to figure out what that is, consider cutting that line.
Okay.
But back it up to, saw a man with a shoulder bag.
Okay. There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag.
Good.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah,
I need to hear that he looked attractive to you.
Okay. There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag.
Good. So, the thing that I was doing with, no. There's an element of tension that comes with this sort of like, ooh, but he had a shoulder bag. So you can use that idea of that uplifting tension and the fall of the body.
Okay.
Try that.
There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag. A man's shoulder bag.
Good. So, that string, you can pull it up. This guy once, he was like this. He had a shoulder bag.
Okay.
Let me see what that looks like. We'll exaggerate it a little bit here.
There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag. A man's shoulder bag.
It's a little too subtle.
Okay.
You're doing great. You're doing great. That's the idea.
All right.
And it has to come down on shoulder bag.
Okay.
Try it.
There was a man once I found really attractive. Then I saw him with a square shoulder bag. A man's shoulder bag.
That's it. Yeah, keep going. Good.
Man's shoulder bag. There is nothing worse than a shoulder bag. Although, there's also nothing worse than a mobile phone. A man ought to give the impression that he's alone, if you ask me. I mean that he's capable of being alone. I also have a John Wayne-ish idea of virility. And what was it he had? Colt 45, devised to create a vacuum. A man who can't give the impression that he's a loner has no texture. So, Michael, you want to pick that up?
Good. This is closer. I think this is closer. Will you play with your belly button again when you say, what was it he had? You can think to yourself, but you're still sharing it with me. Can I just see that real quick?
Okay.
And what was it he had?
And what was it he had?
It's just a belly button, Sonam. It's not a naughty bit. It's not. It's just a feeding tube for when we're babies. Try it again.
And what was it he had? A Colt 45.
So right now what you're doing is, what was it he had? A Colt 45, like you're answering the question.
Okay.
Think about it. And what was the thing he had? A Colt 45. So you're remembering. This is about remembering the idea of he puts holes in people.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
And what was it he had?
Break eye contact.
Okay. And what was it he had?
Break eye
Oh,
contact.
okay. And what was it he had? A Colt 45. Device
Yeah.
to create- okay.
Yeah, there's a sensuality to this memory, just like there is to the gun, just like there was in the opening thing with men should have their hands free. This, and what you can do is you can use this. If you were to play this character overall, then it might be an interesting choice in a longer form piece. That this is her way of sort of like. There's a professor at ODU. He's a theater professor, and he always wears his shirt unbuttoned like this far, and he has like a hairy chest. So he'll watch scenes and he'll just do this. And he'll just play with his chest hair. It's a little creepy, but that could be, But it's a psychological gesture. That's he contemplates things. It's his equivalent of smoking a pipe, but rubbing chest hair doesn't cause cancer, I guess. But it's the same idea, Good. Good. Thank you so much.